Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's your friend, Poppy Football. Now today, we're talking about a couple of things. We're talking about the internet being full of crap. We're talking about the mainstream media being off its rocker. And we're talking about social media being a freaking hellhole right now. The usual. Okay, so quote of the day. You know me, guys. You know me. We like to kick it off with our quote of the day. So even if you fall on your face, you are still moving forward. That's a quote by Victor Kim, American entrepreneur and former owner of the New England Patriots football team. So I'll read that again. Even if you fall on your face, you are still moving forward. And I like that quote because, as you guys know on this podcast, I talk about failures a lot because I think that's the best way to learn. You have to fail and then you learn. However, in today's day and age, with social media, where we're all forced onto these platforms right now, because keep in mind, we're in the middle of August, it's 2020, and we're all trapped indoors. So everybody is viciously, I'm about to complain about the media hyperbolizing their adjectives and such, and I'm over here being like, everyone's viciously attacking each other. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever turn on I don't watch the news, but when I do, I fucking love the character they play. Like the main guy, he's like my age, just more chiseled and less of a soul. And he's like, ladies and gentlemen, this just in. Detroit is now currently burning to the ground. Coronavirus has absolutely ransacked the city, and everyone is running wild. Like, he's like so serious. He's like so mad. He's like, oh my God, this is breaking news. I can't remember my favorite episode of the news. Think about that. I mean, everybody watches the news every single night. You can't remember your favorite episode of it. Shit's crazy. But the internet is full of crap. At least 99%. This is the 1% right here. Stop turning to it for validation. And here's why. Okay, here's an author for a leading investment magazine called Seeking Alpha. And Seeking Alpha is an online publication. And this dude is giving out investment advice, telling people where to put their money. Okay? And then if you click into his name and you go to the bio, it says that he's 20 years old with allegedly 10 years of investing experience. So this dude's either a prodigy who was investing at the age of 10, or he's probably full of shit. So inverse everything that guy says, okay? And here's another example of how the internet is completely and totally full of crap. But this one isn't just some random guy on an investment magazine online. No. This is the LA Times. This is the LA Times, a mainstream publication, and the article that they put out, which is referencing the riots in Portland / protests, riots or protests, they both go on, right? Okay, there's nuance there. But this article that was published by the LA Times on July 19th, 2020, reads as follows. Here's the headline. Out of Portland tear gas, an apparition emerges, capturing the imagination of protesters. Huh? Wait, what? Back it up. So you're going through Facebook, you're going through Twitter, you're scrolling, you see a naked lady. Stop! My imagination has been captured. Out of Portland tear gas, an apparition emerges, capturing the imagination of protesters. This is the LA Times. That's their headline. No, this is not an opinion piece. And that's the sad part is I have friends, people I admire, that work at that publication. And I'm just like, what the hell? Have you lost your mind? What is going on? And it's not them, obviously. Somewhere, things are going off the rails for these mainstream media outlets. Either they're losing money at such a rampant pace that they're resorting to this kind of shit. But I'm going to read you the first two paragraphs so you can get a feel about this story. It goes on entirely too long, so I'll read you the first two and you can check it out if you want. But I really feel like this shit needs to be documented. Like, we can't just let this stuff fly right by. Like these mainstream media outlets that are influencing the masses are putting out garbage content. And in fact, like, what is this even good for? What is this piece even good for? Here's the opening lines. Ready? Here's the first two paragraphs. She emerged as an apparition from clouds of tear gas as federal agents fired pepper balls at angry protesters in the early Saturday darkness. A woman wearing nothing but a black face mask and a stocking cap strode towards a dozen heavily armed agents attired in camouflage fatigues lined up across downtown Portland. The agents dispatched by the Trump administration over vociferous, I don't even know what that means, vociferous objections of state and city officials are part of a force that has fired projectiles at and detained activists protesting nightly since the killing of George Floyd by Minneapolis police May 25th. Okay, so we're trusting you. You're supposed to be the conduit, the reporter that goes to the scene, surveys it, collects the facts, and then reports it back to us. And you're telling me that an apparition emerged from the clouds, breaking the law. By the way, this is a naked person. This is a person that's in public. If I walked outside right now with my balls out, I'm pretty certain I would get arrested. I'm almost certain I would get arrested. I hope. Maybe the LA Times might write a piece on me and call me an apparition emerging from the clouds, but I doubt it. I fucking doubt it, dude. And I'm a little bit mad because... No, I'm not a little bit. I'm pissed. I'm actually really pissed off. How you can defend this, I have no idea. So please enlighten me how the hell this is news. Now, I'm not just picking on the West Coast media, okay, which tends to run super liberal, but a lot of the media does. Let's take a look at TASCAM Purpose, okay? So this is a smaller publication that I've followed for many years. I know quite a few folks on the staff. In fact, I'm friends with a lot of them. And this is very uncharacteristic of the publication, which is geared towards military news, okay? So they published a story today, August 19th, 2020, with the headline, "The Navy SEAL who shot Osama bin Laden just spent the day melting down on Twitter." Let me read that again. The Navy SEAL who shot and killed Osama bin Laden. They're saying that he spent the day melting down on Twitter. So I'm like, okay, well, shit, let me see. And you click into the story, and first off, if you read it, that's not what happened. You can see the guy's tweets. There is no meltdown. This is a freaking Navy SEAL that killed Osama bin Laden. Do you really think that he gives a shit about what people say on Twitter? Do you really think? Now, to peel back a layer real quick, all right, the dude, I'm not a fan. I'm not like saying like I'm fanboying over some Navy SEAL that killed, like, God bless you. Thank you for your service and thanks for putting a bullet through that dude's fucking brain. That being said, all right, the guy went onto an airplane. He didn't wear his mask, which is a controversial thing right now. But at the end of the day, all you can do is kindly, one, protect yourself, and then kindly try to educate others. And if they don't want to wear a mask, then just like, I don't know, get fucking 6 feet away. I don't know anything but that. Anything but pick a fight with a Navy SEAL. So it's just kind of funny. This keyboard warrior here, this author of this freaking, of this article, it's obvious that he's upset with the guy. He's obviously upset that he's not wearing a mask. The author is. I mean, come on. And it's obvious that he's trying to get people to hate on this Navy SEAL because he wasn't wearing a mask. And so he exaggerated the story to achieve his objective. And the irony is that when writers hyperbolize, right, when they exaggerate with these grandiose headlines, it makes the entire publication appear untrustworthy. Like when people see that headline come across, they're not going, oh, that so-and-so writer's full of shit. They're like, oh, that publication is full of shit. And that's the irony of this whole thing. It's like you're trying to, it's so see-through. And it makes me frustrated because it's like, that's a short-term game that you're playing. You're playing a very short-term game. Yes, you will get clicks in the short term. No, you will not get returning customers because they're not going to trust your publication. And that's where we can run astray with social media, okay? It's shallow garbage, and I know that TASCAM Purpose is better than that, okay? So that's my 2 cents. The internet's full of crap, and you guys got to stay true to yourselves, okay? Get out there and use, like, again, this podcast, I'm trying to make it a place where you guys can come and get great information. You guys can stop by whenever you want during your day. Hey, you see Clay's face pop up on your screen, click on in, and you got about 20 to 30 minutes at least of quality content that isn't brain-dead bullshit. The internet and social censorship. That's something that I'm sure I'm going to be talking about as we move forward because it's scaring the crap out of me right now. And I saw it coming before, but now it's even more prevalent than ever. So I said, social censorship is alive and well on social media. You can't even pose a valid or benign question without people flying off the handle to protect their fragile reality, okay? And I see it on my own timeline. Like somebody will post something totally benign. They're just like being inquisitive or like genuinely asking for like, some fact gathering, some sentiment gathering. People should be able to disagree on things. That's we are all humans. We will never, ever see eye to eye on everything. We will never have a common operating picture that is just, we got it. But that being said, I mean, like, you don't need to make other people conform to your opinion. And that's what I see on social media is it's this like combination of virtue signaling, being like, look how virtuous I am. I'm sending my signal up. I'm virtuous. And then other people then see that and then they're like, they either validate it or they hop on board and they're like, I'm virtuous too. And we go to, and I'm dead ass. I'm dead serious about this right now. Like, it's a combination of bad communication platforms, people with way too much time on their hands, hurt and angry people is another prong, and then just the virtue signaling, and it all comes together. It all comes to a head on social media to where this like mob-like mentality. Like, I literally watched the other day a dude post something totally benign, just asking for sentiment, right? Just trying to find some how his friends think about whatever. He was literally like, people were lashing out at him in the comments. There was like probably, dude, I'm going to tell you, it's probably like 50 comments on this freaking thing now. And it was all people flying off the handle, assuming his intent, projecting their own, fears and shit like that. And it's just like, oh, okay. He asked a question. He didn't say anything. He didn't even offer up how he felt about whatever he was talking about. It was a minor question. It was a mere question. Okay? Mere question. And you see how people are so quick to fly off the handle right now. And it's scary. It is really, it's like, wow. So, and to me, it really shows how social media can inspire humans to succumb to groupthink very quickly. Like, and then what they'll do to hold their worldview together. So we all grow up, right? We all have different realities. We all had different families, different experiences, different traumas, different triumphs, and then boom, we're all connected now. And what we find is, hey, your reality is a little bit different than my reality. That guy's reality is a little bit different than her reality. But for whatever reason, when we have that keyboard and some anonymity sprinkled in, we can't wait to throw stones. If you don't conform, you're going down. That's how people feel. So these vehicles are built like crap. Everyone's hurting right now. Everyone's scared. Everyone's upset. There's an election on the horizon, and everyone's on edge. And the emotional stress of life in 2020 is hard enough for most people, but if you factor in the desensitization of people just in general, like, we are not communicating in person. We are stuck behind a keyboard, which already gives you this God complex for some reason, and disassociates you with the human on the other end. And it's just like, what's funny is when they're trying to achieve conformity, the irony of the whole thing is until people are able to reflect on their own shortcomings, we're not going to have much of a productive conversation on the internet, okay? At least not on these vessels right here. With the bite-sized text and people's desire to clap back at every turn, nothing good is going to come of it, okay? That's why I personally hold the belief, if you want to go check out my couple podcasts back, Spotify. I'm a huge believer in Spotify because I think deep listening is the future between Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio. Those are going to be like the big players, I think, in the podcast space. And I think we need podcasts because, listen, guys, I'm not making this video to get 1 million views. I'm not making any of these podcasts to get 1 million views. I'm stoked if 100 of you, if any of you get some information in there and I don't know how to put it, but like, fuck, man, somebody's got to be talking at least a little bit of sense. Maybe I'm off my rocker, but I can't just sit by and watch this shit go down without saying something. So, again, I've been working in social media for almost a decade, for the better half, let's see, we're going on 8 years total, and even maybe argue before that as well. So I've had to stare at these platforms for 8+ hours a day during the workday, not to mention between 2012 and 2020, let's be honest, I probably spent freaking 5 to 6 more after work on these platforms. So the overwhelming majority of my day for the past decade has been spent on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat, Vine when it was around. Bruh. And I know what's going down. They're terrible platforms. They're not good sentiment gathering places to be. So I'm trying to point this out to people before we go down the slope where this arguably, I'm sure this already has carried itself out to the real world. I see friendships deteriorating. I'm sure people have gotten into physical fights over confrontations online. And the irony of the whole thing is they probably see eye to eye on a lot of shit, In fact, they might even agree on the concept at hand. They're just barely off in the linguistics, and they're using their thumbs to communicate. When this is already difficult enough, the throat, making sounds with your throat, it's already difficult. Don't make it harder on yourself. And so my recommendation is you have to manage your time on social media. You have to manage, like you have to, when you open that app, every time you open that app, what's my intent? What's my objective? Why am I opening? Like literally just go ahead and take a second and do a mental reminder every time you open your phone, and every time you crack open that Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. As soon as you click the button, go, what am I trying to achieve? And if you don't have an answer in 3 seconds, close that shit down, dog. Fucking close all them tabs and done. Close the phone. You're done. Because you don't have a reason to be there. In fact, if I told you, if I was like, hey man, guess what? There's going to be this great device that comes out here soon where every person you meet has a tentacle to your brain and they get to complain and bitch about every single thing that they don't like in the world while they're pooping on the toilet. You'd be like, yeah, no, I'm good. I don't think I need that. I don't think I need that tentacle machine where it's like, right? And you've got 1,000 of your friends or more, 4, 5, 10, 20, 50,000 people just freaking pumping their bullshit in and out of your brain, in one ear, out the other. I mean, like, and they're renting your headspace out. They are renting your headspace. And so I would go, no thanks, I don't need that. I do not need that device. Yet, on our home screen, on our computer, on whatever you got YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, Pinterest, Instagram, Vimeo, whatever the fuck, I don't know, Yik Yak. I don't know what's even hip anymore, dude. It's crazy. I'm losing track of them all. So yeah, remove the apps from your home screen. That way when you go to open Facebook, when you go to open Instagram, you have to go search it out on your phone and actually think for 1 second why I'm opening this app. Limit your time. You know, I know it's a harsh reality, but if you got like an iPhone or whatever, scroll on over to that one tab that shows you how much time you've been spending on these platforms. And I'm sure you're going to be like, well, I could have spent this time learning Mandarin. Because on the route we're going, we're all going to be speaking fucking Chinese here soon. So you might as well put your time to good use, is what I'm trying to... Like, literally, that's how I see the situation. If we keep going down this path, you might as well just hand it on over. Give it to the Russians, give it to the Chinese. We don't deserve it. We all deserve freedom. We all deserve freedom of choice. We all deserve personal sovereignty. We all deserve to hold our values close. Why don't other people get that? Well, they will. Not yet, but they will. Don't look at the likes and stop caring so much about what other people think. So that might be one of the biggest lessons that we're going to take away at the end of all this, is that we care about opinions. We care about opinions too much. I mean, it's human instinct, right? So if you go on Amazon and you go try to find a good, reputable product, you're probably going to hit the 5-star mark, and it probably is going to do a good job of telling you which ones are 5-star reviews from people. That's their opinions. They're giving you their opinion on the product. So we look for validation from other people. We look for their opinions. We look for their validation so we can make decisions. And the problem with that is your information is being highly processed and highly refined to these shitty vehicles, right? Twitter, you're getting 140 and then 280 characters. You know, Facebook, you're only getting spam text for the most part, or like, oh my god, what was the meme I saw today? It was so crazy, dude. But the interesting part about memes is they capitalize, typically memes in their most effective form capitalize on cultural and societal issues and problems, and they do it in a way that's humorous yet belittling to the institution. So that's bro, my mind's thinking like that. So you can do a lot of damage with memes if you know what you're doing. If you know how to finesse, dog, you can cause a lot of anger easily. And so you're just like, why? You ever open your Facebook and you're just like, you know, and then, you know, you go, you tapping, swiping, liking, and then you look up and you're like, an hour has passed. Bro, what could you have done in that hour? What could you have done? Literally anything else. But look at other people's opinions, mostly complaints actually, about nothing, about things they don't even know how they feel about. And Facebook's interesting because they could save themselves. I think Facebook is going to have some troubles here over the next, I mean, I could totally be off. Facebook could just be a Goliath and continue just especially as, you know, internet infrastructure in developing countries starts to open up. Facebook's probably going to be a titan. I hope they sink into the freaking ground, because I'm so sick of Facebook. And let's say, like, the only way I think Facebook could survive long term is if they pivot almost solely to video and audio, because this whole text thing and the memes and all that stuff, I mean, at some point, either people are most likely just going to put it down. People are going to stop using it. I mean, the kids already are off of Facebook. Anybody under the age of freaking 25 is, like, probably not really using Facebook at all, especially now, okay? And Facebook could save itself if it, you know, one, pivoted to a subscription-based model. And there's a lot of reasons we could talk about, mostly because, hey, advertisers have a really negative impact on businesses when free speech is involved. And if they protected your data well, that's another thing. And if they cut ties with the advertisers in general, those three things would, it would bring the value of Facebook down monetarily, but it would bring the value of the platform up for its users up greatly. But Facebook most likely will not change. They most likely will not pivot, because they've established the expectation of free since its inception in 2004. So it's not free. You're paying with your eyeballs, you're paying with your emotions, with your heart, with your stress. You're paying with so much. All for what? So they can get your data? So they can detect how you feel about the content when you voluntarily go haha or love or care or sad to a post? You realize you're voluntarily giving them valuable data. You're telling them how you feel. Prior to those emojis, they couldn't detect how somebody felt about content. Now they can. All because they added a couple smiley faces. Very interesting. So what I'm trying to get at in general here is that we need an update. We need an update to how we think about communicating. We need an update to how we think about, you know, one, proliferating and then receiving news, okay? News in the past was from a couple of institutions. I'm straight up wearing my damn American flag swimsuit. So if you think about it, newspaper, think about the word newspaper. How archaic is that word? Like, when we grow up, when we get older, you know, the next generation, next couple of generations, they're going to look back and they're going to laugh. They're going to laugh. They're going to be like, Mom and Dad thought there was one collective reality that all humans drew from, and they tried to take the world's events and mix them with opinions and then cram them into a physical piece of paper that broke apart immediately upon getting wet. Think about that. If it rains, your newspaper's soaked, you're done. And you're trying to cram the world's news, the world's events. We're trusting that you're going to go out, survey, talk to subject matter experts, and then bring it back. That's what we trust with reporters. But, you know, now it's just so insane. Everything is so... if anything, it's a sign to me that the mainstream, and when I say mainstream, man, like, if you said the word mainstream media 10 years ago, you would be looked like a tinfoil hat wearing doofus. But nowadays, if you just say mainstream, people are like, oh no, I get you. Like CNN, Fox, MSNBC, you know, the Titans. LA Times is a titan in my eyes. I mean, on the West Coast they're huge. And so you're just like, what? What's going on here? From our media landscape to our communication vehicles on social media to people's psychology and emotional responses through these vehicles. It's all fascinating to me, and it breaks my heart to sit there and watch people on Facebook, you know, friends, loved ones, just tear each other down. For what? For what? It's sad. I really hope you guys, you know, I ramble a lot on here, but I really hope you take some of this to heart. You know, really look out for your own well-being and mental health and sanity. They're not good places to be. Not yet. So I like to try to keep it a little calmer, lighthearted on these podcasts. You know me. That's how I like to roll. But so I figured we'd end on it. I figured we'd end on a good note. Okay. I figured we would end on a good note. And so this one is being dumb when you definitely should know better. That's what I titled it. And so one time I saw this video on Facebook of all places, and it reminded me. I'll have to put up again. I have to remember. I'll put a clip right here of the kid doing it. Okay, and it reminded me of this one time when I was old enough to know better. You know, I was probably 15 or 16 now. I think I must have been 15. I was definitely old enough to know better. I might have been 16. Shit, I don't know, man. But I jumped on a shovel that was laying on the ground, right? So my dad's in the garden right there. I'm working with him next to him, but I'm bored and I see a shovel on the ground, right? It's laying flat with the little, you know, shovel scoop up, right? And I jump on the shovel, which then makes the shovel fly up, boom, and hit me right here, right? It hit me right here. And what happened was my teeth went through the top of my lip, and my dad turns to me. He sees his son that's old enough to know better with my damn like mouth bleeding and a tooth sticking out, and he's just like, all right, get in the car, because he knew that a trip to the hospital was coming. So I just thought that was funny. Made me look back. I just, goddamn, you know. It's kind of funny, though. At the time, even when it happened, I was like, man, that was so dumb. But, hey, I'll never do that again. I learned. So, failures. Failures are important. We need to be able to fail in this society. And we need to be able to create the space for redemption. And right now, there is none. If you operate on social media, you know, at some point, all the sane people are going to migrate off of social media, and the only ones that will be left are the ones casting stones, and they'll just tear each other down. That's my prediction. But we'll see. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you're enjoying these podcasts. I hope you're getting something from them, and I hope it's easy listening for you. Okay, if you really enjoy this podcast, please support the channel. It's the join button right below. We're on YouTube at the moment, but hey, as soon as like another podcast place comes, if Spotify comes out here in a couple months and they're dope, hell yeah, we're moving over there. Okay, hell yeah, we're moving over there. So support the channel, support the content that you love. Screw advertisers to try to cut them out of this picture, and let's get this content pure, right? You, me, no advertisers. Let's make it happen. All right, I appreciate y'all very much. That's your boy with the tea tonight. Actually, this is coffee, but we coming with the tea and the receipts, dog. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much for chilling with me, and we'll see you next time.